Hey, Facebook. It's Dave Cribbs here, host of Under Contract Live. And you'll notice that we are not doing our traditional intro here today because of this crazy hurricane situation we have here in Florida. So I'll wait just a couple of minutes, let a few people jump on. Let's see if I can turn this. I was told if I turned it, it won't change. Okay, so I don't know if I can see the comments with the phone turned this way, but here's the deal. Just wanted to, there we go. Kimberly Valent. Hi, Kim. How are you? Larry King. How you doing? Just want to invite everyone in. Hey, Anthony. How you doing, brother? Chris Stager. Oh, Chris, make sure you hang in. Have something special for you here today. Good afternoon. Hey, here's the deal. You know, we normally go live here every week for Under Contract at 3 o'clock. As you can see, it's a little bit different today, and that's because of the impending weather situation. We had a show scheduled today, and early this morning, I canceled the guest that we had because that guest is also here not only locally, but lives on the water. And with the impending hurricane, you know, families here are trying to get prepared for any kind of crazy scenarios. Hi, Leah, how are you? And thank you. My wife just brought me the stand here. Let's see if I can actually put it to good use. Let's see if I can get this correct. Okay. So it's pointed a little funny, but we'll just deal with that for the moment. But hey, thanks for joining in. Again, Under Contract Live, a little bit different today because we actually rescheduled our guest for an upcoming show. It's going to be a great show, by the way. You'll want to be tuning in. Make sure you tune in next week. But I also wanted to come on and just kind of go over a couple of quick things. Everyone's gone to Georgia, says Anthony Lagors. Make sure I pronounce that right. But Anthony says everyone's gone to Georgia. It did kind of look that way. I got to tell you, I kind of avoided the interstate around here this morning. I'm actually very, very close to the interstate and kind of had to go a different route this morning, just doing a few errands that I needed to do in order to stay away from the crazy traffic. But yeah, there were a lot of people that decided to leave early. There were a lot of people coming up from, as you can imagine, from South Florida that are kind of trying to get out of Dodge, if you will. And I'm sure that that'll continue now that I believe that they have mandatory evacuations in Key West and South Florida, I think is next, if it hasn't happened already. I haven't been tuning in too much here in the last couple of hours, but I do know that the hurricane update, there's another one at 5 o'clock here in a couple of hours, but looks like we are going to be maybe slightly less in the path. It's still headed towards Florida, but maybe it's going to spare us a little bit here on the west coast of Florida, so in the Tampa Bay area. One of the things I wanted to talk about is last week, hey, Kenny Helms, my good buddy from the car business. I appreciate you tuning in. So we're doing something a little bit different today because we're not having the normal professionally produced show. I just went live in the studio because we canceled our guest for today because of the impending weather situation. Not that the weather is ugly right now here today, but there's a lot of preparations going on that we're trying to kind of tend to. So that's why we're doing the Facebook Live a little bit different today. But I wanted to bring up the winners. Last week I had Lisa Marie Kennedy. She's actually Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy live. Sorry about that. A little phone just rang in, so I had to decline that. But last week we had Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy on the show. It was a really fun show. Make sure that if you missed that show, make sure you go back and watch it. You can catch that on my previous Facebook post, or you can just go to Under Contract Live on Facebook and like that page. Go look at and check out all the previous episodes. But last week I had a blast with Lisa here in the studio, and what we talked about really was commissions, negotiating commissions. We talked about the upsides or downsides of lowering our commissions as real estate agents. Does that make sense? Does the buyer suffer when it comes to that type of thing? Is it fair to the buyer? Are we doing business ethically in a lot of ways? And we kind of wrapped a whole conversation around that. There was a lot of social media interaction with that particular show. Thank you, Paula, for joining in. Thank you, Richard Wall Street Williams. Woo! Come on now. So make sure you go back and catch that episode. Again, because of the hurricane, we're doing some things a little different today. But hi, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. So last week, I wanted to announce last week's winners because we gave away a couple of books. Last week, up for grabs, and the winners haven't been announced yet, but up for grabs was my best-selling book, Race to the Finish Line. And we were giving that to some top social media interactors, and the winner of the Race to the Finish Line book was, and I hope I remember this correctly because I just looked right before I went live, and it's hard to go back and see now, but John, I want to say Mobley, John Michael Mobley. I'll make sure I get that right and make sure that it goes to the right person. And then the second book was Selling the $1 Million Model. That was by Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy, who was our guest in the studio last week. Not only our guest, but no stranger to the show. We've partnered on a few different shows, and she co-hosted with me last week. Lisa, you are amazing. And this book goes to Chris Stager. Remember, Chris, I told you to stay in here into the broadcast. You won Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy's book, Selling the $1 Million Model. Really cool book. Obviously, already read it. Hey, Ryan Kennedy, good to see you here. And so a little bit different again today. If you're just tuning in, due to the hurricane situation, we're not doing the normally professionally produced show that we do every week. We come to you at 3 o'clock to help connect the dots in real estate. We do that by having world-class guests and topics that are relevant to realtors, right? Even relevant to mortgage brokers, title agencies, home inspectors, hard money lenders, you name it. Yes, you're welcome, Chris. You're welcome. Congratulations. So we come here every week and do that, and you know we really don't try to sell things. We do have a few sponsors of the programs. We run a couple of commercials, but we're not here to really sell to you. What we're here to do is really hopefully educate, entertain, have a blast, and grow together as real estate agents. So we love obviously your engagement. We had about 2,200 people that have tuned in last week. If you go back and you look at the show from last week, you'll see that there have been almost 2,300 views. It may be at 2,300 now, which is really cool because the bulk of our audience really is realtors. And when you think about being able to reach, you know, a couple thousand realtors every single week, week in and week out, and the show is relatively new, it's really exciting what's happening. And we are going on location. We were at the Florida Realtor Expo, did some live coverage there, not only interviews, but we did commercials for realtors. We did a bunch of cool things there on the floor, roaming, reporting, if you will, like a man on the street. And then we also did some red carpet interviews for a big organization here in Tampa called BABA, Become a Better Agent. Make sure you check that out. You can find them on Facebook as well. They have lots of cool, valuable things for realtors free of charge. And then, of course, we're going to be in Austin, Texas. Yeah, I think, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're in Texas, and I think you might be in the Katy, Texas. Does that sound familiar? I think that might be where you're at. In fact, I was supposed to fly to Texas tomorrow morning and be there Thursday and Friday, and that got postponed because of the impending situation here with the hurricane. I'm going to be in Austin in October, I think the 5th, 6th, 7th, around there, and then again at the end of October, I believe in the 28th. I've been I'll humbly announce that I've been asked to speak at a sales seminar, sales conference, sales boot camp, and that is with an outstanding, amazing person named Lisa Copeland, who's, by the way, done a lot in helping Texas through a whole lot of efforts. And make sure that you're following Lisa Copeland. She at one time was the #1 Fiat dealer in the world, and that's right, in the world. And I've had the pleasure and opportunity to be able to connect with her and partner on a few different projects that we've done with our auto radio show as well. But I'll be joining her, I believe, October 28th in Texas on another event. But one thing that I did want to share with you real quickly while we're on this particular broadcast, and again, just one more time, if you're just tuning in, this is not our normal professionally produced show that we do every Wednesday at 3. Because of the impending weather, we just did something a little bit different. I canceled the guests so that they could make sure that they were taking care of their home and family nearby, and just kind of making sure that the viewers are aware of what's going on. Obviously, you're aware of the hurricane, but aware that we were doing something different on today's show. So one thing I did want to bring up, especially because we have a big following here locally in the Tampa Bay area, and there is something coming up for real estate agents that I would love to invite you to. And hey, Michael, good to see you here. Ted, awesome to see you, Ted. So one of the things I'd love to invite you to, we actually just put this together. It's with Serial Sales Pro, and you've seen them on the commercials on our regularly scheduled program. Gosh, I feel like one of those late night shows, now interrupting our regularly scheduled program. On our regular program, you see a commercial for Serial Sales Pro. So I'm proud to announce that we have focused with Serial Sales Pro. It comes from the automotive background, as how that company sort of, or that training division kind of got started. And we do a lot of work with car dealers. I'm previously from the car business and still kind of attached to it, of course, after so many years. But one of the things that I'm real excited about is now we have a platform with Serial Sales Pro where we're going to be connecting and doing some things specifically for the real estate world. And we have two upcoming, I call them, well, we're going to call them real estate boot camps. It's the title of the real estate boot camp is just sold, right? Sold. What could be better than that, right? Getting a home sold. So make sure you reach out to me for information on that. It's going to be really cool. We've got national speakers. We've got a guest lineup. We're going to do it, I think, on October 24th and October 25th. It's going to be a one-day event, but we have limited seating, so we're having to do it twice. Back-to-back days, we'll be hosting the same event. The really cool thing is, again, national speakers in the real estate business, people who are on top of the game in real estate. We're going to be throwing down some knowledge. And if you know anything about Serial Sales Pro, you know that when they do it first class, right? And it is going to be a total no-brainer, because I lobbied for something special for the first time for real estate agents. So what we're going to do for real estate agents is, I've been able to nail this down with Serial Sales Pro, where they're going to, because at the Serial Sales Pro Center in Tampa, which is where this training is going to take place, at the Serial Sales Pro Center, there is a studio, right? It's actually the where the show originally started, at the studios of at the Serial Sales Pro Center. So here's the thing. What I've negotiated for us is, with this training, by the way, the one-day training, it's $329 if you want to come to that event. But let me share with you how it becomes particularly no-brainer. What I was able to negotiate for real estate agents is a 30-second professionally produced commercial. Now, this is a little bit different than the free commercials that our show did. We did 15-second free commercials for realtors over at the expo, but that was not in a studio, right? That was we used a black backdrop and we made it look real nice and everything. But I'm talking about a commercial that you can add to your website, your YouTube, your anything, right? And the cost of that, it is included with your one-day training from national speakers for $329. You can't even buy the studio time for that. It's insane. But they did that for me as a way of really entering into this real estate market. So really excited about that upcoming event. So anyway, just as a recap, not the normal show today, not the professionally produced show that you see each week that I'm so thankful to be a part of. But because of the hurricane interruption, we did things a little bit differently. Again, the winner of last week's Selling the $1 Million Model by Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy that was in studio. And again, if you missed that show, you've got to go back and see that one. It was a blast last week. But the winner of that is going to be Chris Stager. And the winner of my best-selling book, Race to the Finish Line, is going to be... See, this is what happens when you go and you have to go back and look at who you chose. But I announced it earlier in the broadcast. Now I got to go back and cheat and look because it was I believe it was a new listener actually, so or viewer. So I'm going to go back and make sure that I have that right. I do have the person down. Hey Bernie, hey Carrie, good to see you guys in on the broadcast, and a little bit different show today because of the hurricane, but I'm going to sign off now. You're watching Under Contract Live. Hey, make sure you tune in next week. Hey, Manny joined us. He was the Realtor of the Week last week. We chose Manny Garcia out in Arizona, and so proud of you, Manny, for what you're doing, and also noticed that you were able to take that footage from the show and put that out there and do some even more spectacular marketing. We used it as well. We shared it because it was really super cool that you did that. So keep killing them out there, Manny. You're doing awesome. And again, a little bit different show today, but don't forget to tune in next week. Next week, we're going to be talking, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to kind of leave it a mystery. I want you to tune in next week because next week we have something very special for you. We had something planned for today, but because of the impending situation, we canceled our guests to make sure they could take care of their family and we could do the same. So good to see you guys from around the country tuning in. And I'm going to sign off now. I will see you next week at 3 o'clock on Wednesday right here on Under Contract Live.